Hey folks, Papa Boris here, playing some more Altered. Let's do the last starting faction I haven't made a video for yet. We've got Muna, this is like the Druid faction, and this particular leader has the ability that the first character played each turn gets a boost, which is a +1/+1/+1 counter, or as I'll just sometimes say a +1/+1, because that's what I'm used to for Magic and Hearthstone, or just +1. Any hoodle, we actually played, okay, hang on. We actually played a game against them. Let's see, did I get it? Yes. So the Sneezer Shroom is a popular turn 1 play for this faction because it gains anchored. So with the hero ability, it becomes a 2/2/2 for 2 that sticks around for 2 turns. You get some free value. Is there a good 1-drop here? We can also play this. Now, I don't know if I really want to play both of these in the first turn, because then they both go to the reserve at the end of the second turn, and then my reserve overflows. So I'm actually going to send this back. It's a bit on the weak side. We'll keep the Sneezer, though. This thing is ridiculous. Just utterly insane. Now, your opponent does get a card, but still, that's a lot of stats. So I'm going to probably keep that, although this, doesn't give my opponent a card. This is a 5. That's actually kind of expensive. Okay. I think I'll play this on the second turn, which means I don't need to play this. This is the rare version of this. So we'll do it this way. That's the thing that's interesting about this game is rare. There aren't actually like rare cards in the way that there are in Magic and Hearthstone. Instead, rare cards are just better versions of basic cards. We got the crazy gambling hero. Got this, wasted the ability. Interesting. Okay. So now my opponent's mana is spent. I am not 100% sure it matters what I do here. Oh, well, you know what? Okay. So I could go crazy and play this, and that would give my opponent a card, but it would mean that they don't move. However, I'm fine with just each of us moving. It doesn't matter which lane I played in, it was the same result either way. Unfortunately, because of this crucial 3 here, I could not block my opponent from moving. Okay, my opponent rolls the dice, hoping for a 6. Doesn't get it. So we just both move 1. But I start the next round with a bit of an advantage because I'm going to have, free stats here. Okay, what do we got? We got this thing, which is the non-rare version of that thing. It has extra stats. That's actually a lot of stats for the mana. And then we got this thing. Target character with hand card 3 or less gains anchored. So I could, anchor this thing eventually. I'm going to... it's a tough call. It's a tough call. So I like the idea of playing this. And then turn 5, what am I doing? Turn 5, I'd be playing this and this, maybe? And then maybe then I can anchor this. Okay, I think that means we're just going to pass this back. As crazy as that is, that's much better late game. Like, say, the last turn of the game when mana doesn't matter. But I think saving that for the end game just seems a little bit aggressive. Let's just keep it nice and simple, playing very, very... obvious sort of dumb moves. We just drop 4 stats in this lane. It's anchored. And then my opponent, can do whatever my opponent wants to do. They've got to beat me here or play something here to contest this. They could actually play this character. That'd be perfect for them. No, sorry, that's not perfect. So playing this character here is great because they're getting 3 stats for 2 energy. However, because of the lack of forest, they don't contest me here. My opponent got unlucky that this is a forest zone. If this weren't forest, then not beating me on forest wouldn't actually matter. But as it is, if they go here, they do move because of the 3 desert beating my 2 desert, and they're still in the starting zone. But because they have 0 forest and I got lucky and landed in a forest region, I will move as well. And my opponent might not want to do that. Actually, I don't know why they did this. Oh, were they just rolling the... Oopsie, sorry. Were they just rolling the dice hoping to get No, they got it. They got a 4 or higher. They got 2 boosts. I don't actually know what this is. I don't know what this is. Are they planning to play here? They could, but that seems like a weird line. That's I don't get it. I think they could have played this over here, and then if they'd won the die roll, they would have blocked me from moving and blocked themselves from moving. Ah, but then over here, okay, so this way, basically they're saying, I would rather move once and you move twice than you move once and I move 0 times. Is that what the idea is? Okay, they got lucky. They got a 6 off their hero power, anchoring this character. And that is fine. So now we are kind of sort of evenly matched here. Desert is the thing that I need, which is unfortunate because that's the thing they're strongest in. They're going to have the easiest time blocking me. Okay, we got another one of those. This thing is, it's a weird one. So 3/3 for 3 is fine. The missing desert is definitely a problem. And the fact that you then can get a 3/3 for 2 after the reserve, but we've got plans for the reserve. I'm just going to send that in. So here with 5, I'm thinking it's going to be this and this. And my opponent is first, which is nice. At least I get to see what they're going to do. Okay, so they're playing this thing. They got a free card into their reserve, which is actually a pretty strong one. So my opponent's off to a good start here. So as it is, they are blocking me. They can't move yet. So right now we're blocked here. They've spent mana and I haven't. So that's kind of good for me, I suppose. And the question is, do I want this to get the bonus or do I want this to get the bonus? And I think I'm going to go for the Sneezer Shroom because it doesn't give away anything from my hand. It contests this, so my opponent has to do something here. And then I can put this wherever I want. Like if my opponent spends all their mana, I actually could just play 2 desert right in here and just sneak this past. Okay, my opponent rolling the dice here. They win the roll, so they block me and they also don't move themselves. And now I gotta think about what to do. So they do have this. It has no desert though. What I think I'm gonna do here is play the Muna Druid here. So I'm only winning by 1 in this desert spot. But this character doesn't have desert. So my opponent would have to play a card from their hand. And then their reserve would overflow. Now my opponent decided to make the card advantage move to play this to use up their reserve space, which I'm fine with. That means that they move and I move. Now they're going to roll the dice. I really hope they don't get another anchor. There's a 1 in 6 chance of that. But they're doing the correct thing. You got to roll. They luckily do not get a 6. Oh, I messed up. Hold on. That was a mistake. Of course, they were most likely to get a boost than anything, which means that I should not have allowed it to be a case where I was only winning by 1. Ah, that was an error on my part. So they move. I don't move. We're now tied. I was ahead before. We're tied. I do have an advantage because I've got this on the board. Okay, so my plan this turn is I want to use this thing, which means I need a hand cost of 3. This would be the perfect target for that. I would need to give my opponent a card, but this thing is pretty big. I can't remember if this deck has a thing lets you discard cards. Let's see, what am I doing? I got 6 mana, so it'll be this, and then I can play another 3, like maybe that. So this 2 doesn't really fit, and I don't want to give my opponent more cards. Okay, we're going to try it that way. Now, I didn't have to go all in on this plan. I could have actually just played like this thing last time, or this thing last time here, and won this lane, and then I would have been ahead on the board. Maybe just like laser focusing on this plan to use this reserve ability wasn't the correct move, but we'll see what happens. My opponent seems to know what they're doing. A lot of the games we've had so far have been against people who just make obvious silly mistakes, and the one that wasn't against such an opponent, I lost. Now I'm a little bit nervous about playing this and giving my opponent a card, because that, you know, that not just that it's card disadvantage, but it gives my opponent an extra thing that they might be able to do that's useful this turn. But the alternative doesn't really work, because if I want this to get hit with this thing, I would, but not play this first. I'd have to play something else first, but then that thing would get the tokens. I think I want the full value of the tokens. So we're just going to play this here, give my opponent the card. I don't have to use this right away. I could play this and then use this before I pass. You are allowed to do quick actions before passing. One issue is... No, actually, never mind. There's no issue. Oh, hey, my opponent also has an overstated thing. This is just that they're paying 4 energy for it. Okay, I am still beating them. However, it's only by 1. Luckily, they're in a water zone, so they're not moving either. So they're going to have to use their hero ability on this, and 2/3 chance they get a +1 token, and then they tie me. And then this thing will go away, and that's fine. So I'm going to just put pressure in the other zone. Unfortunately, this is where I need desert or water, which I don't have from this Muna Druid. But that's fine. We'll just play it. The other thing about it is that this thing has that thing again. So I could potentially anchor something else again next round. I could actually anchor this again next round. I actually wasn't even thinking about that. All right, what is this? Resupply. Okay, this is a fancy version. It's not just from the hand that it resupplies, but the battle cry happens all the time. Okay, so my opponent is beating me here on desert. Even with a bonus, they're not going to get the water they need. So, yeah, I think I'm just fine with it. We'll just do this. So this thing's anchored. It's got ridiculous stats. My reserve is not overflowing. We don't move here, but I move here. So this is perfect for me. I'm completely happy with that. I get ahead. My opponent doesn't. I'm hoping they don't roll a 6. I mean, that's just what you always hope. Is that they don't roll a 6. They did not roll a 6. The boost is irrelevant. My 4, which is my weakest stat, is still enough to block these. Luckily, this card with the overstated lineup did not have water. So now I am 3 spaces away. My opponent is 4 spaces away. I have a gigantic-ass thing on the board. Mainly my issue, carded disadvantage. So my opponent noticed the reserve filled up, so at least they threw 2 cards away, but they've got 6 to my 3. So I'm definitely behind on cards. This is a ridiculous spell because you can play it and then immediately play it again. So it's basically like for 3 mana, you get 4 boosts, which is wild. And you can split it up among 2 characters and 2 pairs. It's just crazy. I think I'm probably going to just send this back. What is it, 7 mana? So if I got, let's say... Well, I'm definitely going to play this, right? Because this game's anchored. So I want this to get the bonus, so I play this. And then I am going to anchor this. And then with 3 remaining mana, I can't play this, unfortunately. But I could just play this twice, right? Because I'm going to have 2 things on the board. Am I going to go all in on that? I think so. I think this just doesn't really fit my game plan here. So we're going to send this back. And again, I don't remember if this deck has things that can remove characters off the board. Ysmir definitely does, and I can't remember who else does. Someone else definitely does. But, oh yeah, actually we can see it here. See how they say both Esmeralda? It's the same card, similar artwork, just the shading's different. But this one only resupplies Battlecry from the hand, whereas this one resupplies, it's got the arrow symbol, it resupplies coming out of the reserve as well. But the reserve cost is increased by 1. So it's not always that the rare cards are strictly better, but they just often are. All right, we're going to have to play this first because this thing is anchored, so I want it to get the boost. That is one drawback of this deck. You get really efficient power and this anchoring business and stuff, but a lot of times your plays are kind of obvious. Now, my opponent has not ever lost the roll with this Trickster. But look at me, still beating them so far anyway. I hope I don't really get punished like Odysseus for my pride here. Okay, so my opponent did get this, which is very strong. Fleeting means that instead of going into the reserve, it goes into the graveyard. Although this thing already has fleeting. My opponent should have definitely given this fleeting. I don't actually know why they didn't use their power. They target Coniferal. Oh, no, they did. They did. I just played this turn. No, I didn't. I played this from my reserve. Yeah, my opponent messed up. This already had fleeting. They should have put it on this, which does not have fleeting. Any hoodle. I get to play Nurture, so we're just going to play it. And buff what I got. I really hope that that's targeted correctly. Yep. Okay, great. So, I need forest or desert. This character has 0 forest, so they've really got some work to do to stop me from moving here in the forest. And then over here, they're just not contesting my 7 mountains at all. They got anchored. All right. My opponent has had great rolls. They've won like 3 coin flips with this. They've gotten 2, if not 3 anchors off their hero power. But they passed. Oh dear, oh dear. Okay, so I need to think about this. Well, we're definitely... Oh, okay. What's going on here? Why can I not click on this? What am I missing? Target character with hand cost 3 or less gains anchored. I should be able to use this because this thing has a hand cost of 3 or less. Okay, I'm going to refresh the page, see what's going on. Hey, it was a weird bug. No, it's not a weird bug. That's... Okay, hang on. It flipped the order of the cards. This thing... All right, comments, tell me what I'm missing. Why can I not click on this? Target character with hand cost 3 or less gains anchored. Discard me from reserve to do this. This thing has a hand cost of 3 or less. And I can't do it. All right, well, I mean, I'm still in great shape here because my opponent's not moving and I'm moving twice. But having this thing stick around would be, you know, pretty significant. So I'm going to try refreshing one more time. Yep. Target character with hand cost 3 or less. This character has a hand cost of 3 or less. Okay, well, the question is, do I play this nurture thing? It would only be affecting this. I think I need to because, I mean, otherwise I'm not using the mana for anything. And, of course, I should have this anchored as well. Oh my god, it opened it up. Maybe there's some weird rule that I'm missing. I don't know why it wasn't working until I played that nurture spell. But, okay. That's fine. We'll pass. So, now my opponent is in some pretty rough shape. Their reserve is all full. Actually, I don't know why they didn't play this. They should have just played this. They had mana left over. The reserve is full up anyway. This is their weakest card. It's a 2/2 for 2 that doesn't do anything. Maybe they don't value the resupply. They could have thrown that away. Nope, they threw away that one. So if you were going to... Okay, so they threw away that one. Maybe they kept this because they value it more. But this thing is a 3/2 for 2. This is a 2/2 for 2. So yeah, they should have thrown this away. I actually don't know what's going on. I said earlier my opponent seemed to have a grasp on things. I don't think they actually do. Okay, we need to think. Oh, wow. So this is the rare version of Nurture. So both the hand and reserve costs... are 1 higher, but it gives 2 boosts to each character instead of 1, which is just ridiculous. Now, do I want to play a 4/4/4/5 or a 4/4/4/4? This is the round that the game should end, so we're going to pay that for mana. And note, I actually can't spend all the mana that I would like. I would like to play this and this again, but I am 1 mana short of that. So I have to make a commitment here. I think I'm going to start with Nurture, and we'll put it on my dudes. I honestly can't imagine how my opponent is going to beat me in both lanes, although if they do have a removal spell in this faction I don't know about, that's like, 3 mana, get rid of a 3-cost card, my opponent could potentially, block me here, and then catch up here, although they're far away on both. All right, so again, do I play a new character, or do I just do this again? If I do this again, I'm going to be 1 mana short of playing this Cernuno. So maybe I should have kept that 3-drop that I kept casually throwing away, because that would have been, that would have really sealed the deal, being able to play another 3-drop here and this spell. So this is basically adding 2 across the board to each lane. This is adding 5 across the board to 1 lane. I think what I'm going to do is play it over here. So this does mean that my reserve fills up and I have to throw something away. But I think this just maximizes my chances of winning. Because now there's like 2 huge threats my opponent would have to deal with. And this, I just don't see how they would get past it. Like if you just look at the stats over here, my opponent, you know, does have card advantage relative to me, but they, what's this thing? This thing's huge. Oh, it doesn't affect the board. It's just stats. Yeah, so my opponent, I just don't know if it's possible for there to be any combination of cards that could get enough power / remove enough of my cards that my opponent could have held it off. So thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoyed it. Please like and or subscribe, and I'll see you again soon. Take care.